Hi everyone. So Captain Cummings was telling me about something that happened with Legacy, and he gave me some news, but he did that thing where you're kind of dramatic and you just say, "Hey, did you hear about Marvel?" I thought I thought he was talking about like Brevoort or Alonso getting canned, but it turns out that Marvel had to do like a late in the day, like Friday or like a Friday press release to basically re-explain what Legacy is after they had basically like a mutiny of retailers. So if you watch my videos a lot, you can tell that I have a lot of issues with current Marvel, what I call SJW Marvel, and very specifically, although there's a lot of creators, you know, down in the artist and writer level and editor, it's really the editor-in-chief and the executive editor. So that's Axel Alonso and Tom Brevoort. These guys both have a unashamed hatred for the fans. They seem to be embarrassed that the characters that we all love, the core Marvel characters, they're really embarrassed that they're mostly white guys. So their whole obsession is just like replacing them, demoting them, sending them off somewhere. That's been the whole tenor ever since Joe Quesada, who I'm the only person on YouTube defending, but I remember his time very fondly. He kind of destroyed his rep apparently forever by doing One More Day, but I had a great time during the Quesada years. I really loved them. I didn't love them as much as I liked the 80s and 90s, but they were solid, especially since the late 90s. People talk about Marvel like, oh, the 90s. Most of the 90s were good. They got a little bit bad, kind of like 97 to 99. Then they picked up again with Quesada. But so they got this thing, Marvel Legacy, and it is such an epic disaster before it even comes out of the gate that I'm literally feeling sorry for Alonso and Brevoort. They are so far out of their league and their own egos, which are based on nothing. Their egos are not based on accomplishment. I have no problem with someone great saying, I'm the greatest. Muhammad Ali said he was the greatest. People loved him. Now, he said it kind of tongue-in-cheek. He had a lot of charm. But when you're great, you're allowed to say you're great. When you're a clown whose flagship character sells 17,000 copies an issue, which is, you know, Alonso and Brevoort with Captain Marvel, you don't get to have an ego for anything. And they're just like, they're so snide and they're so condescending. They're just awful, and most of the books they turn out are trash. Captain Cummings was able to get Brevoort to like to state the wrong number of books. Like he didn't even know how many books they make. They're flooding the shelves because they're doing quantity over quality. It failed, so now they're copying Rebirth, but they're copying it with their old ego. So they're totally screwing it up. So DC did a thing where Rebirth, they had New 52, some worked, some didn't. And then this is what I love about DC. Dan Didio, the guy who runs DC, he is a hot dog vendor. He looks like a hot dog vendor. He thinks like a hot dog vendor. His whole thing is, I want to sell hot dogs. Sometimes he says, I got a fancy new bun that has a little bit of, little bit of pepper in it, whatever he thinks might sell more. And then he will try it. And then when people start saying that, he says, hey, how do you like the new bun? They're like, eh. And a couple months go by, they're like, oh, we really miss the old bun. He's like, you know what? Takes all the new buns, throws them in the sewer. He's like, I hate those buns. Calls the distributor. We're breaking the contract. Sue me if you want to. Click. Calling another distributor. We need the old buns back tomorrow. No, today. I mean, literally, I will drive there and get the old buns. So Dan Didio runs a company like he wants to sell comics and he wants people to like comics. And he also runs it like he likes the fans. He likes the readers. So, and just from my friends, I only know a couple people who have worked for like the modern SJW Marvel, and they don't have good stuff to say. But I know several people who work for the new DC, and man, there's no comparison between the two. People at DC are happy, they're well paid. They see that their efforts, matter, and then like Marvel is just a complete clown show. So anyway, so Marvel came out with this thing. They noticed, they're like, so they realized people just want the old heroes. So they go, we're doing this thing called So first, like a couple months ago, they announced Marvel Legacy and Marvel Generations. And in classic SJW Marvel incompetence, they did not actually delineate what was what. So they said all the old heroes are coming back, and everyone's like, yes! And then you find out the old heroes are coming back in like an event that's just 12 one-shots, and it looks like it might be a time travel story. So it's like, oh, you know, Captain America, the old one who wasn't a Nazi. Well, now we got him with America Chavez. Yay! Like, what are you doing? You put something we like with something we hate. And then, so then they're talking about, so that was Generations. And then they're like, no, Legacy. And then they put up this like completely asinine press release where it's like, we're setting the comic industry on fire. And so the retailers who for the last like 4 years have been stuck with like thick displays of Marvel comics they can't sell. Because when retailers buy this stuff, except for some rare, exceptions like, Rebirth #1, they can't return it, which means they're just stuck with it. And that was the other things about the real heavy pressure from Marvel. It's like, oh, you don't want to order 20 issues of Miss Marvel? Okay, we get it. You hate Muslims and women. It's like, it's all this like, like politically correct guilting you to like these, at best, like mediocre characters. And most of them are just trash. And so the retailers, they're the ones taking, because Marvel Comics has the Marvel Studios and Disney money. They can do good. The retailers just got a bunch of product they can't sell and all these promises that aren't being fulfilled. So then it finally comes out. So Marvel's like, okay, guys, here's Legacy. Check it out. And it's all the same characters. It's all the SJW characters. And like little hints that some people might be coming back, but not even like on the book. Like it's like, oh, Riri and Doctor Doom, it looks like they're still Iron Man, but like Tony Stark may be back, but it's probably like the AI in the costume or something stupid. And it's like, it's just, they're not doing what people wanted. People just wanted the old heroes back. Just give us, just whatever, we just want them back. We want Tony Stark as Iron Man. We want Bruce Banner as the Hulk. We don't want stupid faux hawk bro dude from a freaking Sunny D commercial, Amadeus Cho saying, dude, I totally lifted a tank. Like, that's stupid. There's no pathos. There's no depth to it. There's nothing to identify. It's just some paper thin character with a hairstyle that went out of style 6 years ago saying, bro, I'm totally into the science. Like, sounding like an idiot. So, so then they basically, so they had to correct the confusion of Legacy and Generations. Then Generations is just an event. Mind you, they're announcing their next big event that's going to change everything, while Secret Empire is still going on. And they expanded that into like, oh, there's more issues of Secret Empire, there's side quest books, everyone's a Hydra agent. It's completely stupid. And it's going over like a lead balloon. And now it's like, so that was going to change everything. Legacy is going to change everything. So then they had to dial it back. So then they explained what Legacy was. And it's so cringy. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for them. It's like, the old numbering? Because they do this thing where like, Spider-Man would get up to like 500 something. And then they're like, yo, young kids with the fruit roll-ups, they don't like big numbers. It scares them. So we're going to do a reboot. So they like restart a series. So Amazing Spider-Man gets like rebooted a couple times. So they keep setting it back to #1. So they're like, we're going to send you, we're doing the new numbers. They're back on some of the books. It's like, what? Either fix the numbers on everything or don't fix it. What is this? Like, what are you doing? And then they're like, it's like, are we bringing characters back? Maybe. It's like, just say it. Say you're bringing back Captain America and he was never a Nazi. It was just some old fake out. Say Tony Stark is going to be Iron Man. Like, don't do these stupid fake outs because you're going to bring someone back. It's like, Xavier can walk again. Or he's back alive, We like the X-Men, but the X-Men are kind of similar to how they were in other ages. the main core heroes, like the lunchbox guys, those have just been ruined by these clowns. So then they have to walk. And then this is one of their advertisements. Heroes fighting villains. They have so run this company into the ground that heroes fighting bad guys is like a selling point for the future. What was the other? So renumbering some books. That's like supposed to get you really excited. A character you like is coming back. Just give them... No, don't say a character or two characters you like. Give us all of them back. Your sales are pathetic. In the late 90s, after the industry crashed, the numbers for all these, standard fare, Captain America and Hulk, all that stuff, they were 2 to 5 times higher. 20 years ago, after a crash, you got a flagship character selling 17, and then they do this Marvel. I show you this picture. There's 20 characters. They have Moon Girl on there. Moon Girl sells nothing. It sells like less than 10,000 copies, and a lot of that is just like, oh god, I gotta order Moon Girl. If I don't, it's gonna make it look bad if I don't order it. So, they got Captain Marvel, who's been rejected by the fans for years, and she just gets more and more masculine every time they have America. Think about it. You have 20 characters to put on this poster to say legacy, and we're back, and you put America Chavez, the biggest joke of a book I think Marvel's maybe ever. I can literally do 20 minutes roasting every book. Riri is so bad, I just got a ton of hits roasting a cover for a book that comes out in 3 months from now. Like, you can't, you can hate watch a video. You can't, like, they're trying to, like, apply that to a whole company. So it really is just coming to me like, there's this thing from the 70s called the Peter Principle, and it's like, you rise to your level of incompetence. Like, in the military, if you would be a good E5 sergeant, but you would be a bad E6 staff sergeant, you're going to keep getting promoted until you get to that rank that you were not supposed to get. And that will stop you from getting the next one. They're like, yeah, we are not, promoting you to sergeant first class. But this is the idea with the Peter Principle is that there's a lot of incompetent people in leadership, but they could reasonably do the job below them. This is way beyond that. And I remember reading Axel Alonso books, back when I was in the Marines. He did like the X-Statics. I think he did the Hulk. They were cool. They were like the Marvel mainstream books, and they just had like a little bit of a cool factor. They'd get into like Rolling Stone because of this, this character has a reality show. And it was, 2002. That was cool back then. And then I think he's the one who did like a really good, it was when, I forget the name of but basically they really brought the Hulk back. John Romita Jr. Was it Paul Jenkins? That was a good run. I remember seeing Axel Alonso, and he was like the young, hip, cool editor. And now, like, he was not incompetent at editor, but rising above to editor-in-chief, he's now two spots above his competence. And Brevoort is just a complete clown. That guy barely qualifies to be an editor. He's a complete disaster. The fans hate him. The retailers hate him. How bad do you have to be to like... And then I saw like the next issue of Riri Williams has him on the cover. Obviously, the cover artist is just trying to keep his job. But I mean, this is bad. Okay, so then Marvel had to walk back Legacy. They're like, Legacy is really preparing you for that next event that's really going to change things. So they've already had to clarify and walk back, and they had to do an emergency summit with the retailers. This is where this news came out of. On Thursday, they told to the retailers, and since they know it's going to leak, they did a official press release today. But basically, the retailers are just like, no, stop. Like, you guys didn't change anything. It's all the characters we can't sell. You just changed the numbers, and now it's like, maybe the name's a little different. Like, we couldn't sell Captain America, what's his name? The Falcon. When, Cap Falcon, we can't sell Cap Falcon. They're like, you guys can't sell Cap Falcon? We got a solution for you. Now he's just a Falcon. It's like, we can't sell that. He's not that great of a character. He can't carry his own book. That's been proven over the last 40 years. He's a solid sidekick. He's a solid member of a team. He can't carry his own book. They're like, Cap Falcon, the Falcon. Disaster. So it literally is the point where I don't, like I said in a previous video, I think they've inveigled themselves. There's this kind of like triumvirate of Alonso, Brevoort, and Wacker, and they've kind of been like a little Three Musketeers. I think they've all have like literally a outspoken agreement. We're always going to back each other no matter what, no matter how low the sales go. Nobody will ever turn on the other one. So, you know, Disney basically has a choice of just shut down the comics division or replace all of the key leadership at the same time. And nobody wants to do that for something like, it's still profitable. They don't want to do that. So tell me what you think about this video. Tell me what you think about the Marvel legacy. Do you understand it? Did I explain the difference between legacy and generations? Does Marvel know the difference between legacy and generations? Because I'm not sure they do. When you got to clarify your clarification, and then you have to have an emergency summit and then emergency press release to cover the stuff from the summit, and your big crazy idea is heroes fighting villains and putting the original numbers on some of the books. Like I said, like I feel like DC's just putting out like you know, Foghorn Leghorn and like you know, this piece of wood we found in the street. It's a crossover, and it's better than like 95% of stuff Marvel comes in. Literally, they're just pulling wings off a fly. That's what I feel like I'm doing. Like they are not qualified to run any company, especially not Marvel. And the worst thing is they hate the fans. And I think one of the reasons they hate the fans is because they know they're not qualified for this stuff. They're like, we don't have any ideas. We just have our weird personal politics, and we've never done anything else. You know, we can't get a regular job. We're really scared of getting fired. Let's just constantly blame everything on the fans and, you know, whoever, haters, racists, bigots, all that kind of silly stuff. So tell me what you think about Legacy. Are you going to read it? Are you going to give it a chance? I am going to pick and choose with Generations. Generations is a 12 one-shots. And it is annoying they're doing the old heroes with the new heroes. I just want the old heroes. But I think some of the teams are going to be good. And I really do think that there's this whole group. There's the non-talents at Marvel who are mainly hired for fake surface level diversity reasons. We're talking about like Gabby Rivera on America, Cena Grace on Iceman. This is where it's like, oh, this girl's Hispanic and gay, so we're going to hire a Hispanic gay writer who's never written comics. Oh, this guy was an editor, but he's gay. We'll have him write Iceman, who just magically became gay 2 months ago. But there's actual talents. Guys out there like Kieran Gillen. He's an actual talent. And I think guys like, you know, Tom Taylor. I actually haven't read anything Tom Taylor, but I hear great things. I'm going to do one of his books pretty soon. But they're chomping at the bit to actually write a story. And nobody got into the industry to write Squirrel Girl or Moon Girl or X-23 as like a little girl Wolverine, or this version, this like weird like super masculine version of Captain Marvel. Nobody got into Nobody got into comics to write Lady Thor. None of these people, nobody gets in for any of that stuff. So they got in to write the classic characters. So I think now they are going to have to cheerlead for the new ones, but I think we're going to see some really good stories from guys who are like finally like having the shackles off of them. So tell me what you think about this video, and I'll have probably one more video up later tonight. Thanks.